So, I was up bright and early on the Friday morning, partly because I had gone to bed quite early on the on the Thursday, having been awake for about 40 hours. It was about 7 o'clock by the time I went to sleep. Therefore, 12 hours later-ish, it was about 7 o'clock when I woke up the next day. It was Friday, and the first thing to establish was what to do about breakfast, because the lobby was closed on a morning. It's really sort of like a sort of pub on an evening, really, so it was not open for breakfast. So I got up and I decided that I'd look around here. Now, there's supposed to be a restaurant in this this complex. So says the place that the Expedia that I booked through. So in fact says the emergency escape plan, which I discovered is for a completely different place altogether. Let me show you, because that will help explain things. Here is the emergency escape plan. Now, this is correct. I am in 101 and that is there. That doesn't exist, okay? This is all just the office. That laundry's there, but then according to this we go into a forecourt and there is a restaurant there. That doesn't exist at all. In fact, you drive through there and there is a further courtyard there, and there's nothing but the houses, well, the little rooms in that one, and that's what it actually looks like. The lobby is, if we go across here, the lobby's about there. Okay, now there's no way of going along there. That's just all a highway, but you can actually walk along the curb sort of along this way. So I thought, well, why not oops, where am I going? What am I doing? Why not have a wander around? So I decided to just go on a straight line, and I walked down the road. Now you find that there is a little bus shelter, and I thought, oh, this is quite good. This is a bus shelter, although I have to say, no information in it again. It looked like maybe it was in use, but maybe it wasn't, if that made sense. And then you cross another road, and you find that there is a little sort of plaza. It's a Spring Street sort of shop area, and it's got a load of shops that are mostly all closed. There's a Dunkin' Donuts that looks absolutely revolting. There's a Subway that's never open, and there's sort of various other little things which I didn't really investigate, because I saw that beyond that, again just walking straight up, is the Burger King, and it's a 24-hour apparently Burger King, open all the time. It's open for breakfast. So in I went. And I had breakfast there, and it was quite nice. I discovered, because I used that for breakfast several times, that there is what I call the dropout crew, which are, I don't want to use the word vagrant, but there is a community around this area of people who are con artists, and whether they're truly homeless or whether they're not is I am not qualified to assess. I think some of them are legitimate. I think the ones that you see in Burger King that are fast asleep, for all intents and purposes, are probably legitimate. I think the guys that you see that are walking up and down the roads around here, that are waiting at the bus stops so that as soon as somebody gets off the bus they can hound them, that wait near the traffic lights, so when the traffic lights turn red they can walk along outside the cars and try and get people to lower their windows and give them money. I think those are just con artists. I don't think that they are homeless or vagrants at all. Anyway, so I hadn't met any of those by this point. I had just met the sort of the true vagrants, I suppose. It's a horrible word that I don't really want to use, but I don't know what else to call them. I call them the dropout crew, which is equally as sort of degrading, and probably says a lot more about me than it does about them. But anyway, so there we are. I'd had my breakfast. I walked back to the hotel, and the most important thing now was to establish some sort of way of getting to New York. Now, my thought had always been that I would go always to the airport, and from the airport there was a train that would take me straight over to New York. You go, I can't remember if it's called PATH. I have a feeling it's called PATH, P-A-T-H. I'm not sure what that stands for. But it's a sort of train that's pretty much a straight line from Newark Airport. And it literally goes straight over to Hoboken, where the... sorry, this bed is incredibly bouncy, by the way. It's the best thing about the room. Yeah, it goes to Hoboken, which is a huge hub near Jersey City, and it's where it was made famous a number of weeks ago, really, when one of the trains derailed and went straight through the building and pretty much flattened it. Sadly, the roof collapsed and loads of people were hurt, and I think there were some deaths as well. But anyway, it goes through there, and then it goes on to sort of somewhere in Midtown Manhattan. I don't know if it goes to the Port Authority or if it goes to Grand Central. I have probably Grand Central, or maybe Penn Station. One of the two. Anyway, and that was a direct route. My problem, of course, was that I had no direct route from the hotel to the airport, so that was out. Thankfully, the only other thing that is advertised on this board, apart from the shuttle bus, this is in reception of the I'm going to call it the Econ Lodge because it's easier than saying the hotel, airports, inns and suites every time. So the only other thing that is advertised on the Econ Lodge board is a New Jersey transit to New York, and it's the 112. We would call it 112 or 112. They call it the 112, and it's supposed to go, so the guy said, from the little bus shelter down the road. Well, I knew where that bus shelter was because I had already walked down to Burger King, which is sort of just beyond that. So I was like, woohoo! So off I went to this little bus shelter, and it was supposed to be a 9:35 bus, and it never came. And I was thinking, oh no, what am I going to do? And at about 9:40, the 52 came past. Now the 52 is another New Jersey transit, and I don't know where it starts from, but it runs past the hotel to Newark Airport. And I thought, oh, that's good. That is good. Of course, the hotel here has no idea that there's a bus that runs straight past here that goes to the airport. I wish they had told me that, but they don't know about it, so I discovered that on my own. Anyway, I flagged him down, not because I wanted to go to the airport, but because I wanted to know what had happened to the 112, and the gentleman was very, very nice, and he said, the bus stop you want is actually on one of the bisecting roads. So, I had to cross a road to get to the the little bus shelter and then cross another road to get to the Spring Street sort of shops with the Burger King at the end. Well, it was off the road between the road that I cross between the hotel and the little bus stop. So basically, literally, just sort of round the corner. So I thanked him and I went round the corner, and sure enough, there was the little bus stop. And there was still a group of people waiting, because the buses were running, a good quarter of an hour late on that Friday. In fact, they were running even worse in the evening, but they were really, really running late. So I got on, and there's this dark woman who drives this bus, and she drives the bus every day at 9:35 past that stop. You know, it's not like she's just a bus driver. She actually drives specific buses at specific times. I know, because I caught that bus several times, and every time there she was. So I got on and I said, can I buy some sort of weekly ticket, because I want to go backwards and forth? And she said, you can, but you can only buy a weekly ticket from the Port Authority bus station, not here. So she said, do you want a single there and to buy more, a weekly thing there, or do you want a return? And I said, no, I'll just have a single then. And she said, well, that would be $7. Now, bear in mind that it was $22 from Newark Airport via taxi to the hotel, and she was charging me $7 single for miles, absolutely miles. Now, if you can imagine a triangle, okay, at the bottom of that triangle, on the left side, is a place called Elizabeth. There's a little town. That's the town that's right near this hotel. And if you draw your first line of the triangle, halfway between the Elizabeth apex and the top apex, that is where Newark is with the airport. And then the apex at the top is Jersey City, and the route sort of goes up that side of the triangle from Elizabeth, where we are. And as you're going up, you pass through all the heavy industry which is around here. Most of it's like a gas field. I don't know if it's a gas field or a oil field or something like that, but it's all heavy sort of industry. And as you're going up, you can also see to the top apex of this triangle, you can also see the other side. And along the other side, well, sort of running down the side of that, that's where Manhattan is. So you see it once going up towards Jersey City and once coming down. And you're coming down towards Liberty sort of State Park, which is at the bottom, the bottom apex sort of. So you've got Elizabeth there, you've got Jersey City at the top, and then you've got Liberty State Park as the third apex, so to speak. Now, halfway between Liberty State Park, which is down at one side, and the top, which is Jersey City, you've got Hoboken, which is also where the entrance to the Lincoln Tunnel is, and that's where the bus goes. So it goes up one side and you can see Manhattan, it goes down the other side and you get to see Manhattan all over again. It's like sort of going past it once and then past it again on the same side, and then you go through the Lincoln Tunnel and you burst out into Manhattan, right into the Port Authority